Okay, welcome students to the Parallax Effect in Photoshop. I'm going to start with my photo, and I'm just going to go up to the quick selection tool. And I'm just going to do it manually. I'm going to go around and select her using that quick selection brush. And remember, I can push from the inside out, but I also can go on the outside of the marching ants, press my Option key, and then push down on that to get a good selection. If I look around, I'm looking around the edges, her hair. Because she has strands of hair that are kind of, let's say transparent almost, where I can see through and see the background of the grass, I'm gonna avoid bringing all that information into the video as we make this. So I'll leave those marching ants kind of on the inside of some of that hair that I see flying around there. I'm going to right click and say feather, and I'm going to type in 1. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I want to duplicate this layer. I'm going to press Command J, and you'll see the selection appears on that top layer. And I want to click on it, so I'm going to hold down my Command key and click on the little thumbnail, and that'll bring the marching ants back to the selection. You'll see. I also want to turn the eye off on the top layer, and then I'm going to click on the bottom layer, and I'm going to unlock it. From here, I'm going to go up to Select, Modify, and Expand. And I'm going to expand this by 20 pixels. When I press that, I'm going to go up to Edit and go to Fill and make sure it says Content Aware. Hit OK, and she should disappear out of those marching ants. And at this point, if I have to clean up that background a little bit or around the edges, I want to use my clone stamp tool. And the way that works is I select an area that is similar to what's in the background inside those edges of the marching ants. And I would just hold down my Option key, make the selection on the outside, and then I could brush on the inside. But because my selection came out pretty well, I don't really need to use the clone stamp tool, but it's there as an option. Okay, I'm gonna make sure layer 1 is back on, and I'm gonna turn the eye back on so that I can see her again. And now I'm gonna create a new document. I'm gonna go to File, New, and I'm going to choose just print. It doesn't matter, you could use film and video also. What you're concerned about is the dimensions. So I want pixels, and I'm going to name it Parallax Effect, or just Parallax will work as well. And then I'm going to type in 1080 by 1350. And that's the width and height. And then I want to make sure the resolution is at 250. And I'm going to hit OK, or create. I have these guides on there. If you want to get rid of those guides, you can go up to View go to guides and say hide or clear guides. Okay, got my document. I'm gonna go back to my photo, which I duplicated, and I want to make them smart objects. So I'm gonna right click on them and make sure they are smart objects. I can do that after I duplicate them in there, or I can do it now. And both layers, I right click and I say convert to smart object. Okay, now I'm going to hold down my shift key, select both of them, right click and say duplicate layers, and put them in the new document I named Parallax. I'm going to resize this down so that I have, I'm just grabbing the corner, pulling it inward, and then grabbing the center and moving it back onto my document. I want it to fit on my document so that it covers that completely. Get the check mark at the top, and now I'm going to go up to Window, Timeline, and I'm going to tell it to create a video for me. And you see that down there. I just clicked on that, and it created a video timeline. And I want to make sure that I have layer 1 selected. I'm going to work on that first. And over on the left, it has a little arrow. I open that up. It says transform on the top, and that's what I'm going to be working with. I'm going to move this big blue, I call it, to the very end of the timeline just by dragging it, left click and dragging it. And then I'm going to hit that transform button, the little stopwatch right next to it. Click on that, and it added a keyframe down here on the right side. Then I'm going to move big blue back to the origin, the beginning of that timeline, and resize it. So I want to resize it after I move big blue back down. I didn't do that here. I'm going to go to layer 2 and pretty much repeat the same process. You can see I'm fixing my mistake. I should have moved big blue back before I stretched that out, and correcting my error. So now I have that background moving like that. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, back to layer 2. I dragged the timeline to the back, and I added the transform, and then this time I make sure I drag the big blue, which is proper name is time indicator, back to the front, and then I hit Command T and resize that as well. Hit the check mark, and I'm gonna hit my space bar and let it play, and I should see some movement. You may not see it completely on the first run. It's still kind of rendering. Photoshop's rendering those movement of those files, but when you do it the next time, you should actually really see the movement of that. And that's it. I want to export this as a GIF file and an QuickTime movie file. So I go to export, go down to the bottom, render video. I make sure it says H624. I tell it where to go, and yeah, H624, and I hit. Then I would go back and go to File, Export, and then Export for the web.